As they listened, Angie interlaced her fingers with Sam's, or Sam did so with hers. Who initiated the hand-holding remains uncertain. Either way, after some time Angie gave Sam's hand a squeeze. She then addressed the cook, who sat in contemplative silence across the sidewalk, watching the pilot and Sifu bicker. "He thinks I should marry him," Angie proclaimed. "What do you think?" began Sam. Angie gave his hand another squeeze and he kept quiet. "Why not?" asked the cook. "Y'all look like you's getting on straight." "We barely know each other." The cook leaned back on his bench and emitted a roar of laughter. "Back when my mama had me, she barely knew my pa. They got to know each other. Back then there wasn't no choice. I don't want to get married or have kids. Not for a while. I was telling him I'm going to be a brain surgeon. My dad says I'm going to marry another neurologist, so we'll have plenty of things to talk about. But I doubt I'll have time. Maybe a boyfriend. But labels always complicate things. Ain't that the truth?" "I never said we should get married," Sam butted in over the cook. "And obviously we barely know each other. But for the record, eventually I'd ask. Boyfriend and girlfriend are loose terms at best. As you say, complicated. No one knows what they mean. You, or whoever it is, would have to promise not to leave. No matter what. I do the same. If for no other reason than I know getting to know me will not be entirely pleasant. Imagine, if we could put our heads together. God only knows what we could do, helping each other. Jesus, so much for animism. But in all seriousness, especially if there were going to be kids, I'd like to be married. Yo, speaking of kids, that phone call I took the other day, turns out she lying, trying to keep me in some sort of relationship." "What?" Sam shouted, letting go of Angie's hand and interlacing his fingers atop his head in disbelief. "That's terrible." "Yeah, you know what? I got that phone call and I was upset. You saw me, I was shouting, upset. And you said, and I know from experience, I'm a good father. That's a lot of responsibility. And to be honest, this female is crazy. Then I say to myself, you made a mistake, you gotta wrap your shit, that's your responsibility. So I told myself I knew to accept this burden that, I brought upon myself. Then I'm like, yo, you better be certain that this is your particular burden to bear. So I'm texting her, when you getting tested? She won't go. I'm like, you won't go? I swear, this female, man, if I didn't know any better, my mother hadn't shown me how to have respect. Oh Lord, this fucking female. Is she hot? The cook tilted his head at Angie. Well, look at you, sweetheart. As a matter of fact, she's sexy. Bitch got big booty. Soft. I love a female with some booty. No offense. Angie stood up and did a 180. Excuse me, she said, before sitting back down next to Sam. Are you gonna put this boy out of his misery? Y'all said all you's gotta say. It's real late, and we about to close up. You know the only question that could possibly be on his mind. You sitting up and close like that. The cook could not help himself but to stir the pot. It's cold out, Angie said. I know. I'm old as shit. The cook took off his ball cap to rub his cleanly shaven dome. Moonlight reflected off the smooth ebony surface. And you both being young, one thing I've learned is you never know when you're gonna get old. And shit, listen, this boy's been through a lot tonight, shared a lot of himself, considering you all just getting to know each other. You never know. Could be the start of a beautiful thing. I hope I ain't the first person to tell you. The cook snapped his fingers. Just like that. That's how quick you can be too old. The cook shook his head at Angie. And dear, believe me when I say you ain't too old quite yet. And that boy, he old enough. But me, I'm too old. Sam looked skyward, bending his neck over the back of the bench, and listened in awe to everything the cook said. Angie held the cook's gaze. I'm telling you, give this boy a chance. You think I should go home with him? Angie asked. Sam kept looking at the sky. Go on. Why don't you all put on one of those records? See where that takes you. One of few clouds drifted, partially hiding the face of the moon, that night in the form of a waxen gibbon. and Sam began to count hazy stars. He counted 7 stars no sooner than when he heard Angie say, "If they all think I should, then I'm all yours tonight." Angie looked to the bench of guardians for a ruling. While they deliberated, Sam lost track of the 7 stars he'd counted. With his fate in the air and his vision lacking focus, Sam turned inwards and counted his breathing. In for a count of 7 and out for 7 seconds more. Every breath he made served to clear all the air from his lungs, naturally forcing himself to breathe in again. "Y'all know what I think," said the cook. "No time like the present." "I can't believe you didn't slap his dumb ass as soon as he told you to lick his balls," said the pilot. "Yeah, but ain't he apologized?" countered the cook. "That's not how it works. You don't just get to apologize and get everything you ever wanted," Seafood decided. "Why bother apologizing?" the cook asked rhetorically. "To be forgiven," Sam answered. "To forgive oneself." "You're forgiven," said Angie. "Does that mean?" Angie looked at the ground, and then looked at Sam. Sam glimpsed sadness and regret in her eyes. "Where are you going? You could always give me your number, too. We could have dinner sometime, another night." "I just finished school. I've got a place for the summer out west. Also, right now, you and I." Raising his eyebrows, the cook ejected a primal grunt as Angie got back off the bench and turned to say goodbye to Sam. Keeping elegant posture through her neck, she bent at the waist in front of him. Across the street, through the tree with white blossoms, the type of which Sam could not recognize, there was still the orange glow of the street lamp. Angie's face blocked Sam's view of the lamp itself, and now the light playing through the leaves created a wonderful halo to frame her face and hair. A sudden night breeze lifted Angie's locks, like a field of golden wheat, and Sam inhaled its herbaceous scent. Angie leaned closer to Sam, and for a moment that hung in time, while her face hovered before him, Sam filled with hope. With full lips, Angie kissed his left cheek, then right, then left again, and lastly his neck. As she turned her face to each side, soft light struck sharp, rosy cheekbones. To Sam's eye, before each kiss, a layer of peach light would jump out like from the bottom edge of a cloud in the wake of the setting sun. Sam moved some of Angie's wind-blown hair from in front of her left eye to behind her ear. He left his hand on her neck. Angie moved her mouth to Sam's ear. She whispered something for no one else to hear. Then she stood and went off down State Street. Once she was out of sight, Sam took the lid off his bowl of well-done steak, topped with the cook's fresh salsa verde, and dug in.